Who is the worst #1 overall pick in NBA history? Welcome to the Shot Clock, everybody. Jeremy, Jason here with you. This is one of the more interesting stories that we're going to cover because there is a debate to be had, and mostly over 3 specific players. But Jeremy, we'll start with you. Who do you think was the #1 worst overall #1 pick?
Well, I mean, there's been a long history of busts and poor #1 picks. I have, I guess, fortunately not lived through most of them. So I'm going to go with something I've witnessed personally in the travesty that is Kwame Brown. He was a #1 overall pick in 2001, I believe. He was drafted by the Wizards, and he was bad. And then he got traded to the Lakers, who is my favorite team, and I had to watch him continue to be awful for 2 years. And then he went somewhere. I think he might even still be in the league. The point is, he was a #1 overall pick. It wasn't a particularly powerful draft class, I don't believe.
No.
But I think he averaged under 6 points and 7 rebounds in his career.
It wasn't just the stats that were shocking. It
well,
was
the
his
stats
actual
were also
game
bad.
was
Yeah, if you ever
shocking.
watch him try to catch a basketball, you'd wonder if he could see.
Yeah, maybe he needed corrective
No, he definitely
LASIK surgery.
Yeah, he had really small hands, and I get that that's not his fault, but it's also his fault.
I mean, that's Washington's fault for drafting him.
That's what I'm saying. That's why he's the worst #1 pick of all time. What about you?
I actually think Michael Olowokandi was the worst #1 overall pick of all time, and that's for like multiple reasons. I mean, one, he's regarded as one of the biggest draft busts in history, and Kwame Brown kind of trumped that only 3-4 years later, because Olowokandi was the 1998 draft. I'm looking at the 1998 draft right now, and of course, this is all in retrospect. When you do these type of things like Sam Bowie, of course, Michael Jordan would have been the right pick.
Poor Blazers.
Poor Blazers. And you can go through these things all the time, especially when you look at Kobe was drafted what overall?
13th.
13th overall. So 12 people were taken before Kobe that year. But when you look at Michael Olowokandi's draft, I mean, it was one Olowokandi coming from Pacific as a senior. He didn't start playing basketball till he was 18 years old. Now, I don't know many things, but I know that Antoine Jameson and Vince Carter played basketball, same draft class, 4th and 5th. They were both at UNC. They both were phenomenal players. They both had all the athleticism and talent and potential to be a #1 pick, but instead, the Los Angeles Clippers selected Michael Olowokandi, and his game literally did not translate. That was just, like, when they talk about big men who just don't have athleticism, I want to throw out Frank Kaminsky on Wisconsin right now. He's a big man that's not that athletic, but has good court vision and can make smart decisions in college basketball. Michael Olowokandi was not making those type of decisions in college basketball, and he was not making those type of decisions when he came to the NBA. He retired in 2007, I believe, and also the other fun fact about Michael Olowokandi is he played rugby and he also played cricket, so maybe he should have stuck with those sports. But I think Olowokandi. The other one I want to throw out there that seems to be in everybody's top 3 is Greg Oden. But we both have discussed this before. Greg Oden at the time was not a bad draft pick.
See, I don't consider Greg Oden a worse draft pick as more as I consider him a bust. Why? Because at the time, it was a good pick. The Blazers were not the only team really intent on trying to get Greg Oden as the #1 pick in the draft. He was a top prospect. He was very good in college. I think, there are a lot of people unsure about his offensive game, but he was a defensive monster, and his body just couldn't handle the load. And they could have got Durant.
There is
so
that,
you mentioned Sam Bowie, and they got Sam Bowie, and Sam Bowie got hurt, never really played, and missed out on Michael Jordan, and the same thing sort of happened with Greg Oden and Kevin Durant. So I guess if you're a big man and you're drafted to the Blazers and you're not Bill Walton, watch out.
You need big men to win championships. You need it in the NCAA tournament to win championships. You need it in the NBA to win championships. Kobe obviously wasn't going to do it without Shaq. Kobe wasn't going to do it without Powell. This is nothing against Kobe. Kobe's one of the greatest players of all time, but he needed a big man. Jordan needed Pippen. Jordan needed Rodman. Jordan needed strength and size down low. It makes sense. You're giving me a crazy look. That's okay. But I'd be skeptical. My whole point is that when you have small forwards and guards that tend to be less chance of a bust, tend to have less health injuries. Joel Embiid, for all we know, could be a major bust because of his injury, his foot injury. For all we know, he comes back and he's an amazing NBA player. But there's so much risk when it comes to big men. We've seen it with Greg Oden. We've seen it with Michael Olowokandi.
A quick aside about Michael Olowokandi. I have a poster in my room.
I thought you were saying Jersey, but go on.
No. I have a poster in my room from Sports Illustrated for Kids, which I don't think has been in print for 10 years.
Since we were kids.
Yeah, since we were kids, 10 years ago. And it's a picture of Kobe dunking over Michael Olowokandi. And when anybody sees that poster, the first question is never anything to do with Kobe. It's, who is that guy that Kobe's dunking over?
Right, and then, I mean, most people don't look at that poster. They don't walk in your room and they go, who's who's that guy that's dunking on Michael Olowokandi?
No, but the best part about that is that you can even see Olowokandi in the back of this jersey, and they
And you
still
don't
ask
know.
who it is.
That's former 1998 NBA draft #1 overall pick Michael Olowokandi
Olowokandi.
to you. So guys, who do you think is the worst #1 overall draft pick in NBA history? Do you agree with us? Jeremy says
Kwame.
I say Olowokandi. Some people say Greg Oden. List goes on. Leave your comments in the section below. Thank you for watching, and do not forget to subscribe.